really sorry for your loss today. I know both of your parents aren't here, but I know I can see both of them in each one of you, whether you like it or not. To all of my cousins and their kids and spouses and my sisters, to all of her friends, which she's surpassed many of them. I know we're all feeling somewhat the same way today. So I started by saying that Evelyn was an extraordinary woman. So the definition of extraordinary is a person who is remarkable, very unusual, someone that has an extremely good or special quality, and someone that goes above and beyond what is expected of them. And so Bubby was all of those things, and I can only hope to make her proud. And I also aspire to be extraordinary like she was, and like she still is, and like she always will be. And that's it. So, thank you.
One of the most powerful declarations of familial love in our Torah comes from the book of Ruth. Ruth's husband dies, and her mother-in-law Naomi tells her to go back home to her own people. Find a new husband, rebuild your life. But Ruth refuses to leave her. She cleaves to her mother-in-law Naomi and says, "Do not urge me to leave you, to turn back and not follow you. For wherever you go, I will go. Wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Your people shall be my people, and your God, my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Thus and more may the Lord do to me, if anything but death parts me from you." Evelyn clung to her family, and wherever they went, she went. Evelyn would make lunch for her husband Steve every day, and instead of sending him off to work with it in a pack, she would personally drive to Steve's work site in order to hand deliver it. Wherever he went, she went. While this was a particularly endearing quality, it also posed some challenges, say, if she didn't know where you were at any given time. If you worried her, you were in trouble. Jessica told me that Evelyn once tracked her down when she was a teenager at a party she wasn't supposed to be at. But this was a recurring theme. When Erica was a kid, she was once sleeping over at a friend's house. She woke up suddenly to shouts of, "Erica, Bubby's calling." But Evelyn was no amateur detective. She was a pro. Marcy told me she found me in a forest in Costa Rica. And then there was Rick and Denise's honeymoon. Evelyn had called the hotel where Rick and Denise were staying in Miami Beach with an urgent honeymoon message. "Rick, you remember when you were hit by a car and needed x-rays? Keep them because maybe you can show it to the Army so you're not drafted in Vietnam." She was fiercely protective, and there was nowhere you could run to where she couldn't find you. Like we read in the book of Ruth, wherever you go, I will go. As everyone's Bubby, Evelyn spent a lot of her time feeding others. She'd host Passover Seders with 40 people, and she'd be so busy feeding everyone, she rarely sat down to eat herself. In particular, she fed everyone soup. Not only Steve, who loved Evelyn's cooking, and not only the kids and grandkids, but she'd go to Maryland to visit her kid sister, Marilyn, whom she loved dearly, and she'd even bring enough soup for Marilyn's dog, Ginger. Evelyn was loud and she was tough, very tough at times. But she also had a soft side that was particularly pronounced in her relationship with animals. And as you may have guessed, she fed them too. There was this one particular squirrel that would always come to her kitchen window, which she'd open to offer it a treat. If she wasn't home one day, she'd make sure one of the kids or grandkids would do it. until I'm told the squirrel grew so comfortable there that it would actually knock on the window. She was everyone's bubby, no matter what species you belonged to. That soft side was nowhere to be seen when Evelyn was watching football. The same woman who put Brillo pads in her grandchildren's mouths and said, "Don't use those $50 words," used many $50 words whenever the Browns were down, which means Evelyn used thousands of dollars worth of words. She was loud when she was supporting her team, and her favorite team was her family. When Harvey was once sent home from school because his mustache was allegedly distracting to the other students and in violation of the school's dress code, Evelyn responded by taking the Ohio public school system to court. She won. The judge declared two things. One, there would be no more dress code in Ohio public schools, and two, Evelyn was a, quote, militant mother. Most everyone in the family lived at Evelyn's house at some point, or she lived in theirs, particularly after her beloved Steve passed away, and as her health declined in her advancing age. Like we read in the book of Ruth, wherever you lodge, I will lodge. Favorite activities with Evelyn included cooking, sewing, mahjong, checkers, at which she'd unapologetically beat everyone, even the grandkids, spider solitaire, and falling asleep to late night with Johnny Carson. When you lived with her, Austin, you said you loved watching Roger Rabbit together and how she'd always call you into the kitchen saying, "Tatale, tatale," and show you where the best candy was. Gabriella, you said you loved playing with the violins and making gross drink concoctions in her kitchen with mustard and milk and whatever else was in the refrigerator. Alexa, you lovingly remember the nickname she gave you, the Mouth, because she felt you were loud too. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Jean, you lovingly remember how your mother would take your kids to the most expensive store at Beechwood Place, even though she was of modest means. As you recall, Tara, she'd take you all to buy new school shoes because, quote, you need to take care of your feet. And just as she always took great care of you, you all took such great care of her. Marcy, you said that you and Tara each went long stretches taking her to the beauty shop every week. You said that Saturday was our thing. When it was nice out, you had the beauty shop and lunch, and if it was raining, you'd lose to her in Yahtzee or gin. There's one final piece of that verse from Ruth that we haven't addressed yet, but it rings true of Evelyn in this particular moment most sharply. Thus and more may the Lord do to me, if anything but death parts me from you. Ruth clings to her family, but acknowledges that death would eventually pull them apart. This is where Ruth and Evelyn diverge. And so we have to look somewhere else in our Torah, to Song of Songs, where we read, "Love is strong as death." Evelyn could find you at your friend's house. She could find you in the middle of a forest in Costa Rica. She could find you at a party you weren't supposed to be at. She could even find you at your honeymoon. Do we really think that death is strong enough to stop her? Fortunately or unfortunately, Evelyn will always be able to find you, and you'll always be able to find her. When you feed each other, when you hold and value each other, when you fill the family room with laughter, stories, and soup, Evelyn is there. When you protect each other loudly, taking on the school system or any system that stands in your way, Evelyn is there. And when you take good care of your feet, it's only because, as Jessica said, she leaves behind big shoes to fill. Her love is strong as death, and we come together today to say thank you, and we love you too. Evelyn, you are also a long-time dedicated member to B'nai Yeshurun, and we will dearly miss you. We'll continue now with El Malei Rachamim, God full of compassion. El Malei Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim, Hamsei Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, V'ma'alot Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Harakia Mazhirim, Et Nishmat Yochevet Bat Shlomo Zalman, V'alta Chaya Ruchel, Shehalcha le'olama, Began Eden Tehei Menuchata, Ana Bal HaRachamim, Hasirea B'seter Kanafecha le'olamim, Utzror B'tzror HaChayim Et Nishmata, Adonai Hu Nachalata, V'tanuach B'shalom Al Mishkava, V'nomar Amen. I want to announce that Shiva will take place today until 8:30 p.m. and Tuesday and Wednesday from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock and again from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And that will be at 3356 Lander Road. Graveside will continue now at Zion Memorial Park. And if you'd like to give tzedakah in Evelyn's name, we encourage you to donate to Kol Israel, a charity dear to their heart as Holocaust educators.
For the rest of the day, everyone talk. You can see me all the way through it.